This day in sports history. It started just after 4 a.m. when 8 men armed with rifles and grenades jumped the fence at the lightly guarded Olympic Village, housing about 10,000 athletes from around the world. It was September 5th, 1972, and these 8 were members of Black September, an offshoot of the Palestinian Liberation Organization. Their directive was to invade the Israeli quarters, take hostages, and demand the release of 236 Arab prisoners. These were supposed to be the cheerful games, the 1972 Olympics in Munich. Germany's hope was to erase, at least in part, the memory of the Nazis and the 1936 Olympics. There were recognized threats prior to the game starting, but the Olympic organizers did not want to project an image of a police state, and so security measures were a little bit lax. Day 10 of the Games had already been put into the books. There was a more relaxed atmosphere with the end just a few days away. The terrorists had been scouting the location for more than a week, and they knew how to get in and what room to attack. Wrestling coach Moshe Weinberg fought back, attacking one of the terrorists with a knife and knocking another unconscious. Weinberg's aggression allowed another Israeli athlete to flee to safety. Unfortunately, Weinberg was shot and killed soon after. Italian-born Israeli weightlifter Youssef Romano, a veteran of the 1967 Six-Day War between Arabs and Israelis, also fought back against his attackers, slashing one of the terrorists with a knife and grabbing his gun. He too was shot and killed. 9 Israeli athletes became hostages, and a long standoff began as German police surrounded the compound. Strangely, when the sun rose on the 5th, IOC President Avery Brundage said the Games must continue, despite having been briefed of the deaths of Weinberg and Romano, and knowing the siege was still ongoing in the Olympic Village. Athletes had to comply, or else be disqualified. Avery Brundage was not a man to be challenged. It was a mystifying decision by Brundage and the IOC. Competition would continue for about 7 hours before being halted. The demand for the release of the 236 prisoners was again made by the terrorists. Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir refused to cooperate. So the terrorists started bargaining for themselves, requesting helicopters to take them to a military airbase in Munich, and then a plane to fly them to Cairo. On the 6th, the helicopters were arranged, and the hostages and the terrorists were transported to the airbase. A rescue plan was devised by the West German police to disguise themselves as the flight crew on the plane and then overpower the terrorists. That plan was deemed too risky and too dangerous, and was scrapped. The second plan was to use snipers to cut down the Black September members. Snipers managed to gun down 5 of the 8 terrorists, but one of the remaining members tossed a grenade in the helicopter with the Israeli athletes, killing the remaining 9. One German police officer was also killed. The 3 remaining terrorists fled, but were soon caught. Nearly 24 hours after it began, ABC's Jim McKay issued the statement, "They're all gone." Along with Moshe Weinberg and Youssef Romano, the other 9 Israeli athletes, coaches, and support staff were referee Yossef Gutfreund, weightlifters David Berger and Zev Friedman, wrestlers Eliezer Halfin and Mark Slavin, track coach Amitzur Shapira, shooting coach Kehat Shorr, fencing coach Andre Spitzer, and weightlifting judge Yakov Springer. The German police officer was Guido Schlosser. The Games continued on the 7th.